Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier have both been arrested as part of FBI investigations into sports gambling.
The NBA was thrown into complete chaos when over 150 new names were revealed in court, leading to 30 arrests as federal prosecutors warned this was only the beginning. Coaches, all-stars, and even figures linked to organized crime are now reportedly under FBI investigation. What began as quiet whispers has erupted into full-blown turmoil. On October 23, 2025, just 2 days into what was meant to be an exciting new NBA season, the basketball world woke up to absolute pandemonium. Instead of celebrating dunks and buzzer beaters, fans and analysts were captivated by a scandal that felt straight out of a Hollywood crime thriller. Federal authorities dropped a shocking announcement, arresting dozens in what is quickly becoming one of the most explosive integrity crises in NBA history. Picture this. FBI Director Kash Patel stands at a podium surrounded by federal prosecutors and law enforcement officials, revealing schemes so complex and technologically advanced they sound straight out of a Martin Scorsese crime film. There were X-ray tables capable of reading face-down cards, rigged shufflers that scanned and analyzed decks remotely, marked cards visible only through special contact lenses, and hidden cameras disguised in chip trays and chandeliers. This wasn't a small-time hustle. It was organized crime at its boldest, and its reach had slithered deep into the heart of America's most celebrated basketball league.
All these guys knew what was at stake, and I'm just ashamed that they put themselves and put their family and put the NBA in this position.
But here's where the story takes a darker and more unsettling turn, sending the entire NBA into what insiders describe as a full-blown panic. Among those arrested were not just anonymous gamblers or small-time operators, but some of basketball's most recognizable figures. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, a 5-time NBA All-Star, 2004 Finals MVP, and recent Hall of Fame inductee, now finds his legacy overshadowed by scandal. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier, a decade-long veteran earning over $26 million a year and known across the league as Scary Terry, was also named in the investigation. Alongside them was former player and assistant coach Damon Mookie Jones, who spent 11 years in the league and was a trusted confidant to some of the game's biggest icons, including LeBron James. According to federal indictments unsealed by the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York, these arrests reveal two deeply intertwined criminal enterprises that allegedly thrived for years right under the league's watchful eye. The first scheme centered on insider sports betting operations that took advantage of confidential NBA information such as unreported injuries, pending lineup changes, and players planning to leave games early. This wasn't just casual gambling. It was a calculated effort to exploit privileged data and defraud sportsbooks and bettors out of what prosecutors estimate to be tens of millions of dollars. The second scheme was even more daring, involving a mafia-backed underground poker network that used NBA stars as what the indictment described as face cards, effectively human bait to attract wealthy victims into rigged high-stakes games. These secret games took place in Manhattan penthouses, Vegas high roller suites, Miami mansions, and lavish Hamptons estates, where victims collectively lost over $7 million, including one individual who dropped nearly $1.8 million in a single night.
Billups' arrest was part of a separate case, but it was related, linked to an illegal poker operation tied to the mafia. That according to reporting from ABC News. At the core of Rozier's arrest is a game from March of 2023 that saw an uptake of Rozier bets coming in on the under. Rozier left that game just 9 minutes in, citing a foot injury.
Federal filings have so far publicly identified around 31 individuals, but prosecutors have made it clear that this investigation is far from over. ESPN's David Purim, one of the most respected voices in sports gambling journalism, reported that many within the league believe more names are likely to surface, with insiders describing the situation as just the tip of the iceberg. The probe has already linked suspicious betting activity to 4 NBA teams, raising serious questions about the league's integrity. Federal officials have also emphasized that additional indictments are expected soon. While the arrests themselves were not physically chaotic, the scenes they created were dramatic enough to send shockwaves through the basketball community and leave fans questioning just how deep this scandal truly goes. On October 23rd, coordinated FBI raids across 11 states unfolded with military-level precision. In Orlando, Florida, Terry Rozier was taken into custody and appeared in federal court wearing a black Charlotte Hornets hoodie, multicolored shorts, and sneakers, accompanied by his mother and attorney Jim Trusty. Prosecutors pushed for a $10 million bond, but the judge ultimately set it at $6 million, secured by Rozier's Florida home and tied to strict conditions, including surrendering his passport and a complete ban on all forms of gambling. Meanwhile, Chauncey Billups was arrested in Portland, Oregon, appearing in a brown hoodie and gray sweatpants. His attorney, Chris Haywood, firmly declared Billups' innocence and emphasized his client's long-standing reputation for honesty and integrity. Just hours before his arrest, Chauncey Billups had been coaching an NBA game, completely unaware that federal agents would soon be at his door. He was released on a substantial bond with travel restrictions limiting him to Oregon and Colorado, and his passport was immediately confiscated by authorities. In Las Vegas, Damon Jones faced arraignment, where prosecutors bluntly told the judge that the former NBA player struggled with a serious gambling addiction. Jones was released under strict conditions, including a ban on gambling, limits on any financial transactions exceeding $10,000, and travel restrictions confining him to Texas and New York. A public defender was assigned to represent him, and his next court hearing was scheduled for November 24 in Texas.
He had previously not been accused of any wrongdoing. Shams was all over this story, as you might expect, as are others.
Federal prosecutor Joseph Nocella Jr., who is leading the case, delivered what many are calling a clear warning to the defendants and anyone else entangled in the scandal. Your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. These were not the words of a man closing a case, but of someone just beginning one, fully aware that what had surfaced was only a glimpse of a much larger criminal network. The timing of the arrests could not have been more damaging for the NBA's public image. This did not happen quietly during the off-season, when the story might have faded away. It erupted just 2 days into the 2025-26 season, at the very moment fans were most eager for basketball, when television ratings were under the microscope, and when the league was striving to generate excitement for what was meant to be a defining year. Instead of celebrating basketball, the league was forced into damage control, canceling team practices and media sessions, issuing carefully crafted statements about integrity, and watching as viewership reportedly dropped 10 to 15% year over year amid growing doubts about whether the games were even legitimate. The NBA's response was swift but exposed a deeper problem that had been brewing beneath the surface. Commissioner Adam Silver immediately placed both Rozier and Billups on indefinite leave, with the Portland Trail Blazers naming assistant coach Tiago Splitter as interim head coach. A leaked internal memo dated October 27, obtained by ABC News, revealed league officials essentially admitting they had fallen short in educating personnel, stating that the NBA needed to do more to help players and staff understand the serious risks that gambling poses to their careers and livelihoods. This admission is especially striking considering that the NBA, more than any other major sports league, has fully embraced sports betting since the 2018 Supreme Court decision that overturned the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, effectively legalizing sports betting across most of the United States. The league has since forged lucrative partnerships with betting giants like FanDuel and DraftKings, generating millions, perhaps billions, in revenue from an industry that critics warned could lead to precisely this type of scandal. These schemes betrayed the integrity of the game. The details of what these individuals are accused of reveal a level of sophistication and audacity far beyond ordinary sports betting. The operation spanned from 2019 through 2025, involved multiple organized crime families, including the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese families, and employed technology so advanced it would make a James Bond villain envious. The sports betting scheme, which federal authorities have named Operation Nothing But Net, revolved around exploiting non-public information about NBA games. Here's how it allegedly worked. Individuals with insider access, including players, coaches, and people close to teams, obtained information before it became public. This included unfiled injury reports, decisions about whether star players would rest for certain games, and even real-time updates on when a player might leave a game early. Terry Rozier's alleged involvement stands out for its brazenness. The indictment claims that on March 23, 2023, during a Charlotte Hornets game against the New Orleans Pelicans, Rozier exited after just 9 minutes, citing a foot injury. However, immediately before the game, there was a suspicious surge in betting activity on Rozier under prop bets. Wagers specifically targeted betting that Rozier would score fewer points than sportsbooks predicted. When a player with Rozier's scoring average leaves a game after just 9 minutes, everyone who bet the under wins big. The indictment claims Rozier was involved in manipulating at least 7 games during the 2023-24 season, providing information to associates who then placed bets totaling more than $200,000 on platforms like FanDuel. It gets even worse. Prosecutors allege that Rozier hosted money counting sessions at his home, where he and his co-conspirators would sit around counting the proceeds from their fraudulent betting schemes. One alleged associate, a childhood friend named Dyroler, is accused of being paid roughly $100,000 for selling insider information that enabled over $300,000 in fraudulent bets. Consider this: a player earning $26.6 million a year, risking his entire career, his freedom, and his reputation for what amounts to only a fraction of his salary.
Been in many of those investigations, they'll wait 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but when they come knocking on your door, they have something. And we all know the letter of the law when it comes to gambling and sports gambling.
Damon Jones's alleged involvement is equally alarming, but with a different angle. The indictment claims Jones provided insider information about LeBron James' availability for a February 9, 2023 game between the Lakers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Having served as an assistant coach with the Lakers during the 2022-23 season and maintaining close ties within the organization, Jones allegedly knew in advance that LeBron would sit out due to an ankle injury before the information became public. With that knowledge, bettors could place large wagers on the Lakers to lose or on LeBron's statistical prop bets to underperform, effectively turning privileged information into near-guaranteed profits. Chauncey Billups's alleged role intersected both schemes, but appears to have been particularly central to the rigged poker operation. Court documents indicate that Billups may have been co-conspirator 8 in the sports betting scheme, allegedly providing insider information about the Portland Trail Blazers' rest decisions before March 24, 2023 loss to the Chicago Bulls. But it is his alleged involvement in the poker scheme that reveals the truly cinematic nature of these crimes. The operation, which authorities named Operation Royal Flush, was a masterclass in sophisticated fraud. Games were held in luxury locations across Manhattan, Las Vegas, Miami, and the Hamptons, targeting wealthy individuals capable of losing substantial sums. NBA celebrities like Billups served as what the indictment describes as face cards, famous figures whose presence lured wealthy victims, or fish as they are called in poker, into believing they were entering legitimate high-stakes games with their sports heroes. But these games were anything but legitimate. The cheating technology used was described by FBI Director Kash Patel as astonishing. Tables were outfitted with X-ray technology capable of reading face-down cards. Shuffling machines were rigged to scan and analyze entire decks, transmitting the information in real time to accomplices. Cards were marked in ways visible only through special contact lenses or glasses worn by the cheaters. Hidden cameras were installed in chip trays and even chandeliers above the tables, capturing every hand so that accomplices in other rooms could relay the information using various signaling methods. One victim lost nearly $1.9 million in a single session, and the total amount stolen through these rigged games exceeded $7 million. But it gets even darker. When victims were unable to pay, organized crime enforcers allegedly used violence, threats, and extortion. These were not polite requests for repayment, but acts carried out by mafia associates through intimidation, physical assault, and robbery at gunpoint. The investigation itself was a massive operation that demonstrated just how seriously federal authorities treated these crimes. The FBI executed more than 24 search warrants, reviewed thousands of hours of surveillance footage, and monitored over 3,000 phone calls from informants who had infiltrated the operation. This was not a quick probe that came together in a few months. It was years of meticulous work building cases, gathering evidence, and ensuring that when authorities finally acted, the cases would be airtight.